Hi there, everybody. Well, I bet some of you thought that you weren't going to be seeing me today, but I've never let you down yet. In fact, only once when I didn't have signal. And I promised that today I would be speaking on how to create consistent content. So it's one of the biggest challenges that sorry, I'm just trying to get my microphone it's got all twisted up. Creating consistent content is one of the biggest challenges that people face in the online world, especially people like us, if you want to call us amateurs, people who don't do it for their professional living, but we know that we have to do this. We have to create content and we have to show up consistently in the online world in order to rise above the crowd, to get that kind of attention and to attract the right kind of attention. So let me remind you again that there are three things that brands do that become sustainable long-term businesses that stand the test of time. And the first is that they get their customers' attention. The second is that they keep their attention. So in other words, they become memorable. And finally, they engage the emotions of their potential clients. Now, that might sound like quite a tall order, but let me tell you that I have a little trick up my sleeve. So I use and I teach my students in my 12-week Marketing and Sales Accelerator course. I use what I call content wheels to create just about every single form of content. So if you can imagine a wagon wheel, and it's got a huge big hub at the center. It's got all these spokes coming off to go towards the rim, except that instead of having a nice smooth rim, at the end of each spoke, there's a little sort of bubble. And let me explain how this works. If you have a look at your business, you will see that there are a couple of common topics that may come up again, time and time again, when you are dealing with clients. I know, for example, from speaking to colleagues who work with people in management and executive levels, that interpersonal relationships are one of the things that commonly come up. So that could be the topic that goes at the center of your hub, which you can just draw on your page. Now, coming off interpersonal relationships, there are a whole lot of little spokes or subheadings or subtopics that you could then address and speak about. So it could be, and if we look at just the classical emotional intelligence elements of emotional intelligence, it could be things like managing interpersonal relationships. It could be managing our emotions. It could be developing a greater awareness of our impact on other people. And also, part of managing our emotions is developing a greater awareness of how other people impact on us and how they kind of trigger us and can set us off. Because an awareness of these kinds of things helps us to then build up strategies to be able to cope with them so much better. So this is one way of taking a single topic, which could be interpersonal relationships, and breaking it down into a whole series of smaller topics that would then form the outline or the basis of a longer article that you could write for your blog, or that you could publish on LinkedIn. You might even submit the article to a magazine for publication, invite them to, especially in when we are under so much additional stress. Things like interpersonal relationships also include, to a degree, resilience, because we have to learn to be resilient against the way that other people are responding to what is going on in their world at the moment and how they are taking it out on us. An example that I often use for the content wheels is the topic of your niche, and how important it is to find and define your niche in the coaching world, is one of my big content hubs. So in other words, I would have niche at the center. Then I might go off and talk about the research that was done by the Forbes Coaches Council on how they identified that defining your niche is one of the single best things that you can do to future-proof your coaching relationship. The ICF at the beginning of this year issued a statement in an article in a magazine, again, about the fact that finding your area of speciality, they termed it their area of speciality, is the best thing that you can do to future-proof and crash-proof and even recession-proof your coaching practice. And I can speak on behalf of the clients that I'm working with in my accelerator, that they are telling me without fail that as they are getting more and more specific around the work that they do, where they get the best results, where they deliver the best results, and being able to get clearer on communicating that to their potential clients, these clients are telling me that they are getting more and more and more clients. So it really, really has a huge positive impact on your business, on how your business attracts the right kind of clients into it. Another topic to do with niche is what makes a good niche. And actually, I think that topic alone, I don't think there's any one definition of niche. And I often tell the story of how over the years I've run my training in a live situation. And I've asked people, when I say the word niche, what is the first picture that jumps into their mind? And do you know, in almost 12 years of running the same training, I've only had two people or two sets of people draw similar pictures. So this tells me that people's concept around niche is so highly differentiated and so undefined that there are more than enough niches in the world for all of us to fill them. So basically, the other way that I use my content wheel is, you know that I've got 2 online training courses. One is a 5-module course on how to find and define your niche. And the other one is a 12-week marketing and sales accelerator for coaches. So what I did was, again, I took the marketing and sales accelerator as the center of my hub. And then I created these spokes because I knew that I wanted to try and do about an 8 to 12 week program. And at the end of each of the spokes, I then put a topic that I would address during the course of my 12-week long training. And before I even knew it, I had built the program. I was then able to take each of the individual spokes. So the very first spoke that we start with is your marketing mindset. because so many of us as coaches are publicity averse. We're very shy. We think that our job is actually to do the coaching, to sit in the background and to support our client in their developmental journey. But we forget about the fact that as entrepreneurs, we've also got another very, very important job, and that is marketing our practice. So we have to develop some kind of a positive mindset around marketing that is going to enable us to overcome our fears of publicity, our aversion to being visible, and to get us out there and allow us to build a strategy that is authentic for us, that feels right for us to get out there and market our practices. Now, I can see there are quite a few people watching today. There haven't been any comments that I can see, so there are no questions, clearly no questions on the topic. I'm not going to say much more about it because it is actually quite a simple topic, and it's an incredibly simple tool to use, almost like a mind map. It works in a very, very similar way. I do have a PDF that you can download free of charge and just use as as a free resource. So if you give me a few minutes after this live has finished broadcasting and gone live on Facebook, I will add a link to download that PDF to the introduction to this particular live broadcast. But I just wanted to share with you a tool that I've developed and that I use tremendously in almost every single part of my business, even down to planning what goes on my website, what content goes on my website. So if I look at my own business, I can sort of split it into three big categories. So the one is coaching, which is my years of experience and expertise on coaching, and the fact that I do work as a coach, a pure coach with coaching clients. I then work in more of a mentorship capacity in the programs that I run. So that's a second component of my business, or it would be a second content wheel around which that I would create content. And the third part of my business is around teaching coaches how to market themselves with authenticity, organically, without spending money just willy-nilly on advertising. And I must say that one of the future lives that I'm planning on doing is looking at the various tools out there, because if you're anything like me, you are inundated, number one, by this variety of tools that all promise to just about do the job for you. And number two, you're inundated by courses run by absolute charlatans, and it's only after you've actually bought into the courses that you realize how poor the quality and caliber of the courses are. So thank you. I can't still make out who exactly it is, but thank you to the two people who have responded to this live, so that I can, it's always nice to feel like you're not talking to yourself. So as I say, one of the lives that I am thinking of doing in the future is looking at the various tools and making my own recommendations based on my own personal experience about which tools I think are useful for coaches, that I think are kind of bedrock tools that we need to be using in our coaching practice. And it's a bit tough to badmouth competitors, but also to warn people about the pitfalls of just kind of going with any and every shiny new thing that presents itself to you. You really need to be able to do your homework into what is out there and whether or not it is going to meet your needs. So that's all about content wheels and how to create consistent content. Some of you who participated in the 5-day challenge that I ran about 3 weeks ago will also have downloaded the 1 month social media calendar that I gave you as a resource that you can just rinse and repeat and use on a monthly basis with suggestions for what you can post every single day. And also remember that when it comes to content, there are 4 content buckets or 4 content categories. So the one is value. Value content is educational content. So that would be something similar to what I'm putting out now. Then there's personal content, and I actually quite like Jenna Kuchar's approach to how she has decided on what she's going to share from a personal perspective. So, for example, she has picked, I think it's 5 different topics that are central to her personal life. Number one, that they live in a really old house that they have renovated. I think it's over 100 years old, that she and her husband have renovated over time, and she talks about her love of this house. The house is on the coast, so she talks about how much she loves and enjoys living on the coast. She talks about her baby quite a lot, and being a working mom and what the challenges of that are like. For myself, my personal content pillars are things like the fact that I absolutely adore my dogs. I describe myself often as a niche nuts, tree-loving, dog-hugging marketing and business coach. And you'll often see me talking about my dogs and the long walks that we take in the forest as part of my buckets of personal content. Then we have the sort of promotional content. So this is stuff like testimonials that you get from clients. And it's really nice, if you can, to get your clients to actually quickly record a video testimonial that they can send you via WhatsApp or, just quickly email to you, because people love to be able to build a relationship with other people, and there's no greater opportunity to do that than on video. They could also record voice messages on WhatsApp that you could upload as little mini podcasts, talking about their experiences with you. So you see how these are just different content categories that you can add onto those central topics that you want to talk about. You can bring in various different content categories. I was coaching 2 of my clients yesterday, and with both of them, actually, different topics came up during the course of the coaching conversation. And I was able to say to each of them, I'm just going to send you such and such a resource, and I'm also going to drop you a link to a Facebook video that I have published on my YouTube channel that talks to this particular topic that might give you a different perspective and, you know, just help give you that little bit of additional inspiration in this particular area. So the more you create content, remember, the more you are creating assets for your business. These are things that you can share and repurpose in different ways again and again and again. You can turn a video like this into into an article. You can turn it into an infographic. So I could quite easily create an infographic around how you would populate and use in a number of different ways the content wheel that I've spoke about. In fact, that's a jolly good idea, and I'm going to make a note to do that. So watch this space. But I think I've kind of run out of steam on the topic. This was an unscripted topic, so this is really me at my most natural self, and I hope that you've enjoyed spending this time with me, and I really, really want to value you and thank you for taking the time to join me. Don't forget, I go live every Thursday at this time, so join me for lunch next Thursday. And I promise to bring you something else that will be really, really valuable and just help your marketing life. Is that Alex that I can see there? Oh my goodness, that's wonderful. What a fantastic surprise. But don't forget, I do this every Thursday, and I promise that I will bring you something that you will be able to find of value. So thank you once again for joining me. Watch this space to find out what I'll be talking about in the next coming weeks. And I look forward to seeing you online again. In the meantime, take care, stay well, and keep those masks over your faces when you go out in public. Alrighty then. Ciao, bye.